Welcome back to At Home with Roby. I'm Patrick McIsaac from Roby Electric, along with Trent Haston from the Roby family of companies. We are now joined by Walter Brigman from Remedics Restoration, and also an Andrew Roby client, Trent.
Yes, and hey, number one, a dear friend of ours,
Correct.
mine, yours, and the Roby family. So that's number one. Number two, a client, and then number three, very similar. Got a lot of business lessons coming at you today. A small business owner in our community, and we like to promote that. So welcome, Walter.
Thank you, Trent. Thank you, Patrick.
Yeah, glad to have you, Walter. So you are part of Remedics Restoration, which
correct.
is it's a known company in the area. You've been around for, I think you said 15-something years?
It's been 16 years total, last 10 years here in Charlotte.
Okay, great. And you are a client.
I'm a client of Roby, absolutely.
Client of Roby, and I believe you tell us a little bit about the project.
Well, so I called Roby Electric.
That's why Patrick said you are a client.
That's right. I called Roby Electric one day when our power was fluctuating inside the house. And I called my standard electrician and never got a phone call back. And I said, well, I'm going to go ahead and just call Roby. And it was after hours. Some gentleman showed up at our driveway, looked at our house, and then followed the line all the way up to the power lines and found out that it was one of those. It was an issue there. And so we were able to call the city. But that gave me the inkling to call Roby when we decided to do a renovation on our house. If I hadn't had a good experience with Roby Electric, we definitely wouldn't have called Roby to quote on our renovation.
And the story's a great story because we renovated his house. It wasn't all roses, but I would say it was a great experience for Walter, and what a beautiful home he has. Nice new kitchen. And Walter and his family are such personable people that they invited over our guys to celebrate the christening of the renovation. Yep. And I was invited along just because I'm the third wheel, and we got to know each other, and we think alike. We brainstormed similarly and got similar goals in life. So we did that, and then the next thing you know, we're hanging out and we go golfing and
Yep.
We talk all night because we can't sleep because our brains are running a mile a minute.
Yep.
And then the next thing you know, he's buying a small business.
That's right. Yep.
And we're now we're running parallel, and we're trying. And the deal is, we want to introduce. We like to educate the public on this show. We want to introduce the public to the world that Walter's in. Not only do we think he's so funny, personable, and a good radio host, Patrick, you're gone. She gone. But
a good run.
But this is a real important thing, and we've never really talked about disaster relief and such. So, Walter, why don't you give us a rundown of what your forte is?
Well, Remedics Restoration Carolinas is a company, as I said, that's been around for 16 years. Diane Keller founded the company, and she's very instrumental in the whole mold industry. And I really didn't know that much about the industry. And, it's one of those things is that, growing up, we didn't even know what mold was, right?
Right.
And as you continue on, we're learning more and more about how mold affects people and the damage that it can do to houses. Also, constructions and housing is different than they were back in the day. There are tighter homes. The way that they're wrapped these days, where, the older homes, they're not wrapped as tightly, and so air can come in, which means moisture can also leave. And so all these have kind of collided together and has created, as Diane refers to as, some of these homes are petri dishes. And so it's an opportunity that for the public to know about mold, and that's really what we're here to do. And if you have a mold issue, we always say call a professional.
So relative to 30 years ago, number one, I don't think the world was that aware of mold.
Mm-hmm.
People were getting sick for mold probably, and they didn't realize that's
right.
what it was. But number two, you say the houses were built with a lot more intake and outtake, so now the houses technically are built better They're built tighter as science
yep.
has improved and
Right.
products have improved.
Right.
But it's caused a problem in certain situations and certain environments, certain humidities, I guess you would say.
Sure.
Similar to the Sun Belt,
Yep.
the southeastern U.S. I mean, we are one humid spot.
That's right.
I feel like I'm in my steam room all summer,
Mm-hmm.
and so that's interesting because I've seen it when we'll do an addition and the floors will show some signs of moisture.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
And they're like, my house has been here 70, 80, 90 years, and my floors have never showed any signs of moisture. Well, it's a different product we're adding on. It looks the same,
Mm-hmm.
but also, we have to figure that out. Plus, I think we've had a lot drier times. I don't know if the climate in the Charlotte region with the extreme dry and then the extreme rain causes that. Does that have any effect on it?
Well, it does. A lot of times what you're dealing with then is just an onslaught of moisture coming in. It hasn't been previously, but now, like what was it last October? Remember we had the monsoons.
Yeah.
Where it rained and rained and rained. You had these huge downpours, and so those create opportunities for moisture to get into the house. And once the moisture's in, what do you do with it? You also have, sealed crawl spaces these days.
Yep.
Are they properly ventilated? If they're not ventilated, then they can cause issues. And so there's all the debate between do you open the vents or close the vents, and so.
So what's the answer?
Well, you really want to if the vents are closed, and you need to make sure that you have a way to condition that air, that there is either some kind of a humidity retardant in there, or you have airflow in there so that it's circulating, or you have them open. And that creates its own way for airflow to work with itself.
Well, I know they always talk about, obviously earlier this week, today being Sunday morning, earlier this week, we had some really cold weather,
Mm-hmm.
and everybody's saying close those vents. And I will bet you that most people probably took heed to that and will forget to open them back up.
Well, a lot of times you got to close the vents to save your pipes, too.
Right, correct. And now that's another type of business that you guys will help with. Let's say my pipes burst in the crawl space or anywhere
Sure.
throughout the house. Remedics can help there as well.
Right. We'll come in and help, dry those out.
Yep.
We'll pump the water out and then put in air movers and dehumidifiers to help dry it out, dry the soil out, dry the wood out. There's a certain percentage of moisture that you want the house to have,
Right.
and we'll take it down to those levels, and then from that point, you look at what's the root cause, what caused this, and why did it happen. If it's a plumbing issue, you fix that. If there is a drainage issue, then you need to get a landscaper in there to help you with that drainage issue.
Right, French drains or something along that line.
Absolutely.
Correct.
Hey,
right.
rule number one, keep water away from the house.
That's right. That's
Rule
right.
number one, make sure your flashing on top of the house and the side of the house is properly installed.
That's right.
Rule number one, keep water out of the crawl space.
That's it.
I thought you were going to say rule number one, make sure you install the drain piece to your washing machine properly.
Oh, because that's where you...
That's what happened to me. I mean, I'll make fun of my own self here. When we first moved into our house, literally day one, our washing machine and our washer and dryer on the second floor, and I sit down on the couch after a couple of grueling days of moving, and water is pouring through the foyer fixture.
It's scary.
It is scary. I think the Panthers were playing or something. I had a meltdown because I think as a homeowner, if you don't know, you think that they're going to have to tear my house down.
Well, yeah. I mean, you go to that little spot. You just bought a house, right? So
Yeah,
there's some anxious moments and
Sure.
there's some anxiety there, and you see this water
Pouring.
just pouring in, and what do you do? And the main thing is, well, obviously to cut it off. That's what you want to do,
Yeah.
and then what do you do? And that's when you want to call a professional to have them come in and dry it out as fast as they can, because if they don't dry it out fast, then it can lead to other issues.
And that's what we did, Walter. I mean, we can. I'll circle back because actually Trent's. I thought I had a problem with my drainage, and Trent's dad at the time came over and informed me that I had put the actual drain piece in correctly. Mm-hmm. Walter, we're coming up on a break here. Think you can stick around for another segment?
Absolutely.
Folks, you're listening to At Home with Roby. We're here with Walter Brigman from Remedics Restoration. We'll be right back.